Despite a U.S. holiday, the dollar dominated trading on Monday as it headed for a fourth day of declines, weakening against every major currency. The euro's jump weighed on European stocks, while gold gained. Bloomberg's dollar index approached its lowest level in 3 years as the euro extended gains that have pushed it to the strongest since 2014. The Stoxx Europe 600 index struggled, ending lower as the common currency provided a headwind to the region's exporter-heavy gauge. Mexico's peso was the big outperformer as emerging currencies gained, while the yuan touched a 2-year high as the People's Bank of China raised the currency's fixing. West Texas oil fluctuated before climbing for a 6th day. The dollar remains under pressure after capping 5 straight weeks of declines, even against a backdrop of solid U.S. growth. Traders appear to be more excited by potentially hawkish policy shifts from central banks in Europe and Japan, the improving political outlook in the euro area, and the synchronized nature of global expansion that's also propelling emerging market economies and assets. The common currency, which already has momentum after last week's progress toward a German government, got a further boost as economists polled in a monthly Bloomberg survey bumped up their 2018 outlook for euro area growth to 2.2%. That's close to the decade-high 2.4% pace estimated for last year. Meanwhile, the German central bank's decision to include the Chinese yuan in its own reserves was another factor dragging on the dollar. Amid greenback weakness, currencies and equities in developing nations rallied. The peso benefited after reports the U.S. was softening its stance toward NAFTA talks. Terminal users can read more in our markets blog. Here's what to out for this week. Earnings season ramps up. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co., ASML Holdings NV, Bank of America Corp., and Goldman Sachs Group Inc. are among some notable releases. Industrial production in the U.S. probably increased in December, a report may show Wednesday, completing a solid year for manufacturing. U.S. housing starts probably slipped in December for the first time in 3 months as frigid winter weather impeded work, forecasts show ahead of Thursday's release. The Bank of Canada's interest rate decision comes Wednesday. Monetary policy announcements are also this week due in South Korea, South Africa and Turkey. China releases fourth quarter GDP, December industrial production and retail sales Thursday. And these are the main moves in markets. Currency as the Bloomberg dollar spot index declined 0.6% to the lowest in about 3 years at 12:34 p.m. New York time. The euro climbed 0.6% to $1.2274, the strongest in more than 3 years. The British pound increased 0.6% to $1.3811, the strongest in about 19 months. The Japanese yen appreciated 0.5% to 110.53 per dollar, hitting the strongest in more than 4 months with its 5th straight advance. The Mexican peso jumped 1.2% to 18.8176 per dollar, the strongest in almost 6 weeks. The Stoxx Europe 600 index declined 0.2%. The MSCI World Index of Developed Countries climbed 0.4%, reaching the highest on record with its 11th consecutive advance. The MSCI Emerging Market Index climbed 0.1% to the highest on record. Futures on the S&P 500 index increased 0.2% to the highest on record. Bonds Germany's 10-year yield rose 1 basis point to 0.59%, reaching the highest in 6 months on its 5th straight advance. Britain's 10-year yield declined 2 basis points to 1.323%, the first retreat in a week and the largest decrease in more than a week. Commodities West Texas Intermediate crude increased 0.5% to $64.65 a barrel, reaching the highest in more than 2 years on its 6th consecutive advance. Gold rose 0.2% to $1,340.68 an ounce, the highest in more than 4 months, with assistance by Adam Haig and Natasha Doff.